I'm not really saving for anyone right now. And I really only pulled on reruns, so there's probably not going to be anyone I want from Fontaine. Oh, maybe I should save for Jean-Li and finally build a GOT. So, I'm a degenerate, and I like to play this anime game on a daily basis. And I'm also a character designer who likes torturing my babies with every weapon in my arsenal. So naturally, I mixed the two. Spoilers for both the Sumeru and Inazuma Archon quests. And content warning for, let's see. Murder, child murder, witch trials, burning alive, genocide, mother issues, all of the stuff Tottori did, comas kind of, slight body horror, and I think that's it. I am very sorry if I missed anything. The sobs of my OCs. Music to my ears.
If there's one thing I've learned from being a funeral director, it's how to throw a party.
Appy was my first Genshin OC. They're a 5-star support / sub DPS Animal Claymore. He scales with attack, and his skill creates a shield. Her burst manifests 4 arms and 4 hands made of wind from her back, and they deal additional animal damage. The arms can also transfer to the other party members. Abhi is based on the Hindu goddess Durga, a goddess of protection and strength as well as motherhood, destruction, and war. Durga is often depicted with 8 to 10 arms, which is what Abhi's burst is based on. She was originally part of an OC challenge I did back with my friends in 2020. They were designed before Sumeru came out, so I didn't have much to go on for outfits or lore. This is also why her design resembles more of an earth tiger rather than a Rishable tiger, but I like the orange better, so we're gonna stick with it. Originally, he was imagined to be a nonchalant guard who happens to have animal genes like Tighnari or Diona, but one of my friends brain blasted while we were designing our characters and gave me an idea to make her, well, a god. And it ended up working out pretty well with the canon Sumeru lore, with a few minor adjustments. Abhi is the 7th incarnation of the lesser god Gora, also known as the Raksha. As a lesser god, they were stronger than a vision holder, but not on the level of an Archon. Think of them like the Adepti of Liyue or the Four Winds of Mondstadt. Gora has been around for 4,000 years, while Abhi has only been around for 400. Before Abhi's incarnation, the Raksha was known as a protector and healer of Sumeru. However, the Academia, threatened by his popularity, kidnapped and attempted to burn them alive. Of course, the Raksha would just reincarnate on the spot, but the Academia was kinda persistent. So, after literal hours of burning baby gods alive, they gave up, sent what was now baby Abhi back into the forest, and tried to come up with a new plan. They did consider raising Abhi and trying to keep him on their side, but they didn't know if the previous lives' memories would transfer over, or if Abhi would turn on them regardless. After much deliberation, they had their new plan: to go for her source of power. As Abhi was learning how to put their foot in their mouth, the Academia discovered that the Raksha's powers came from the same place as the Archons, the support of their followers. First, they spread rumors about Abhi being essentially a satanic figure, portraying her as an anti-Archon and the embodiment of mischief and violence. Slowly but surely, the rumors gained traction, leading for the people of Sumeru to turn against Abhi. He faced quite harsh treatment, including verbal abuse, physical assault, and even witch hunts against her followers. Among these loyal devotees was the Amin family, who had faithfully served for the Raksha for generations. Japmeet was the youngest of the Amin, and would go on to become Abhi's closest friend. They would do nearly everything together, and Japmeet would often even help Abhi in protecting her followers from people trying to harm them. And because animal users are not allowed to be happy, do you remember those witch hunts I mentioned? Yeah. Before everyone she loved had died, his power showed in physical strength and resilience, often used by Abhi to throw himself in harm's way to protect others, much like his previous forms. But, as Abhi began to lose their power, they'd become weaker and wouldn't heal as quickly. This is why they are covered in scars and why all of their clothes are torn at the edges. However, you may notice that the sash holding her vision remains untouched and is very well cared for. That's because it is the last quote-unquote offering that they receive from Japmeet, so it's, kinda sentimental. After the loss of Japmeet, Abhi started to keep everyone at a distance and would try to avoid making any new friends. They became a bit of a loner, but still did what they could to protect people. Nowadays, Abhi is often either found skulking around her temple, roaming around the Avidya forest hunting for food, or protecting people who the forest rangers can't. Speaking of the rangers, Abhi's social life has thankfully improved after 300 years of having no friends? Tikanari, who found himself in their temple on a particularly stormy night, has been quite persistent in getting her to interact with people instead of just saving them. He's gotten them to become friends with Kale and even gotten them to meet Sino. He kind of regrets that though, as when in the same room, those two tend to say one horrible joke after another. But that is Abhi, my traumatized Garfield.
We would never do anything so shameful that we would need to wear masks while doing it.
Tatiana is a 4-star burst support electro bow user. Her skill would be kinda useless, mostly just applying electro to the surrounding enemies, but her burst would be a godsend, putting down a Bennett circle that, while it doesn't heal, would do a massive attack percentage boost. She would scale off of energy recharge, which would let her be a bit of a battery as well. Now, despite wearing Inazuman garb, Tatiana is actually from Snezhnaya and has a bit of a Rapunzel story because I love my traumatized bonds. She was born to a poor couple in a small town in Snezhnaya, and she became the sole survivor after a treasure hoarder raid. She was found by the Fatui and brought before the Tsaritsa, where she was swiftly adopted and proclaimed the princess of the Fatui. Like Rapunzel, the Tsaritsa had a weird affection for Tatiana's hair, and would always make sure that Tatiana's servants made it look perfect. Originally, I had pictured Tatiana to be a blonde, but as I was going to color her eyes, I wanted them to be a pinkish red color to match her clothes. And while yes, a lot of Genshin characters have unnaturally colored eyes, I realized... albino. So I went back and made her the palest pale to ever pale, making her hair white as well. Being albino did mean that Tatiana had to be careful when she went outside, as she would sunburn incredibly easily. So the Tsaritsa simply forbade it, not wanting Tatiana to get hurt in any way. This meant Tatiana wasn't allowed to leave the palace, but as a kid she didn't mind this as much, as the palace was already quite large. There were, of course, areas she wasn't allowed in, such as the meeting room of the Harbingers and the doctor's lab. Once, when Tatiana was 8, however, she heard a scream come from the lab. When she approached the door, one of the guards quickly shooed her away, but that didn't stop her morbid curiosity. Knowing when everyone would be busy, she snuck into the lab. After a while, she would find a room with a lot of beds, but only one person. Here, she met Kale, her soon-to-be new best friend. Initially, Kale distrusted her, but grew to like her more as she realized just how little Tatiana knew about what the Fatui were actually doing. Over the course of a year, Kale would tell Tatiana what she knew about the outside world, while Tatiana would provide support for Kale after her experiments. This would be when Tatiana started to question the Tsaritsa. Eventually, she would be caught, and the Tsaritsa not only grounded her, but also forbade her from seeing Kale ever again. Tatiana did ask the Tsaritsa why Dottore was allowed to do what he did to the children, but her question was ignored and she was sent to her room. Still grounded, Tatiana watched from her bedroom window the night that Kale escaped. Having grown more suspicious of the Fatui every day now, she snuck into the next Harbinger meeting and heard about the plans that they had for both Liyue and for Mondstadt. A few days later, she asked the Tsaritsa why they were planning to hurt 2 other nations, but she was simply grounded again and not given an answer. This was her last straw. Tatiana hastily planned an escape route, only to be caught and sent back to the palace. The Tsaritsa was talking with Child as Tatiana was handed over. Of course, Tatiana was grounded again, but Child overhearing everything was rather important as he and Tatiana had gained a sibling-like relationship over the years. When Tatiana returned to her room that night, on her bed laid an electrovision, a hefty bag of Mora, and a detailed plan from Child for a successful escape. With the cloak to shield her from the sun, Tatiana hitchhiked all the way to Inazuma, which was the farthest she could get from Snezhnaya. Inazuma was still under the Shikoku decree, but she managed to sneak past it thanks to the cracks. After lurking around the nation for a while, she joined the army on Watatsumi Island, one of the few places that would take an outsider. Originally, I gave her the regular outfit for the army, but it didn't quite match the Electro vibe and make her look too much like an NPC, so I made her outfit purple instead, thinking that could be part of a lower-ranking member uniform. Despite being part of the army for nearly a year before the Traveler arrived, she never progressed much due to not being able to stay out in the sun too long or without getting fatigued easily. It wasn't that Kokomi or Guru didn't want to give her a higher position, but it was more so that they feared what would happen if she had any more work to do. Call it a Noelle situation. Tatiana still hasn't told anyone about her upbringing, fearing that they may think that she's on the Fatui side. This is part of why she didn't say anything when she saw them passing around illusions to other members of the army, as well as the fact that she still didn't quite know how they worked. As it stands, Tatiana's friends would be Kale, Child, Kokomi, and Guru, while also knowing about all the Harbingers, the Tsaritsa, Beidou, Kazuha, Toma, and likely a lot of other people she met on her journey across Teyvat.
I got this. I just gotta tough it out. I can take it. I can take it. Hatsune Miku!
Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, but Solar, Miku was already in Genshin. She had a Genshin skit at one of her concerts, and you know what? I think that outfit is bullshit. Why the hell would she be from Sumeru? She's from Japan. She should be from Inazuma. It doesn't make any sense. I've had the idea of a playable Miku Genshin crossover in my mind for a while now, but never executed it because I didn't have a reason to. However, I do now, so you all have to put up with it. Knowing that Miku coming to the game would be a big deal, I knew she had to be a 5-star and knew she had to be a DPS. So I made her a 5-star burst DPS Pyro Catalyst. God, I need to go touch grass. Her story is probably the lightest out of these characters, but considering what I've done to my other OCs, that's not exactly saying much. In the Genshin universe, Miku, like Catherine, is a robot created by the Fatui. Miku was intended to be a gift for the Shogunate army, aiming to win their favor so they could steal the Electro-Gnosis even quicker, but the plan failed, leading to the plan that we see in-game. Miku's original purpose was to entertain and boost the morale of the Shogunate army, similar to that of a showgirl, but only in the aspect of song and dance because in the real world she is implied to be a minor, and we don't want a repeat of the one Barbara commission. After unboxing her, she got right to work, using a preloaded song and dance and dancing on a makeshift stage. The crowd loved her, too much in fact, because as everyone was applauding for her after only one song, she got a Pyrovision because she loved just how happy everyone was. Yeah, so this is why the Fatui used Plan B. So after seizing her and taking her vision, they threw her in a cell and let her starve. Okay, so I know what I said, but she didn't starve to death. She just didn't get her batteries swapped out and went unconscious for about a month. Or 5. See, it's not as bad. Currently, we don't know how Catherine really works, so I did have to bullshit something out, but, you know, I think it works, personally. Every day, these robots have to open a hatch on the back of their neck and replace the electrocrystal that they use as a battery. Technically, one crystal can last 40 hours, but it's recommended to change it every 24 so that you don't risk running out of power as Miku did in her cell, and being left in a corner rot with cobwebs covering your lifeless body. Eventually, Toma saw Miku during a routine rescue mission and decided to bring her back to the Kamisato estate. After berating Catherine, obtaining the key for her neck, and replacing her crystal, they updated Miku on everything that had happened since she had powered down. And after explaining all of that, the first thing that Miku asked was if she was allowed to perform again. Miku ended up performing for the Rebellion, Watatsumi Army, and other unguarded venues to fund her electrocrystal supply during the Vision Hunt decree, with of course help from the Rebellion whenever she came up short for the week. After the decree ended, she regained her vision and became a well-known idol all across Teyvat. In the end, Miku befriended Ayaka, Toma, Ayato, Yoimiya, Sayu, and most of the Rebellion. While she would never admit it though, the only person that she doesn't really like would be Kujo Sara for locking her up. I realized writing this that I never really got a chance to talk about her design, so I'm gonna do that now. First thing that anyone will notice is that I made her outfit pink instead of the iconic blue. Reason being is that I wanted this to not only feel like a Genshin character, but also like a potential outfit for Miku that you would buy figures of. Several Genshin characters have a theme to their outfit, such as Mona being based on astrology and witchcraft, and Yulon calling back to noir and gambling. After doing some research on Japanese flower symbolism, I decided to theme her outfit off of cherry blossoms, as they symbolize life and death as well as beauty and violence. I thought that these went well with her story after she essentially dies in prison and gets brought back to life, and she was also meant to entertain during the time of war. Wanted her outfit to make her look like a pop star, so I played with a mix of darker colors with the brighter accents, as well as leaving her hair her iconic blue to help contrast against her outfit, thus giving us my traumatized Genshinified Miku.
You playing games, pretty boy?
Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. I'm sorry that this video took so long. I just started college during the midst of this. So, you know, fun times, didn't realize how much homework I would have. Be sure to check out my socials on screen. I'm going to try to be better about posting on there. Thanks for staying this long if you made it this far. I know that this video is a little bit longer, should be, than everything else that I posted. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, just have a good day, and remember to shine on. I'll see you in the next one.